Once again, New Delhi today reached out in a genuine way. Not just the government, but the entire Parliament of India, through 29 representatives across the board, went across and had a series of talks in Srinagar with various groups. At one point of time, it was being said that these talks are too insulated. They're happening in a seminar kind of environment, but that could not be the argument after certain leaders went across to the houses of Mirwais Omar Farooq, of Mr. Syed Ali Shah Gilani. Mr. Gilani is a known pro-Pakistan voice, and yet went across to their homes and expressed their keenness to hear the other side. And yet, we have seen a total boycott of these talks from the separatists. Well, on the debate this evening, I have Yasin Malik of the JKLF. Thank you very much. Mr. Yasin Malik is joining us. Mr. Aslam Ghoni represents the National Conference, former advocate. Also with us is Chandan Mitra, Editor-in-Chief of the Pioneer and Member of Parliament of the BJP. Sajjad Loan of the People's Conference from Delhi. Abhay Aima is a Kashmiri. He's a well-known financial voice, is joining us as a Kashmiri first and always on the News Hour tonight. And Abhishek Singhvi is also joining this debate. I want to begin by first asking you, Yasin Malik, what are the separatists scared of? What are you scared of talking? You know, there is a genuine effort being made to hear your point of view. And you say that you are not willing to give peace a chance. Why?
Arnav, who is scared of talking? Can you explain it? Who is scared of talking?
The separatists. Separatists are scared of talking, of taking part in the dialogue process. Mr. Gilani, for example. Mirwais Omar.
You are lying, Arnav. You are lying. Arnav, you are lying. We talked to Government of India. I personally met the Prime Minister of India. I frequently met the different shades of political thoughts in India. I am always in touch of Indian civil society. You will be surprised to know that I met last year RSS leaders also. So why you are talking that Kashmiris are scared?
Then what is the problem?
Indian parliamentary delegation delegation came here. From last 3.5 months, we are receiving the body bags of our kids from 9-year-old to 20-year-old boys, while as Kashmiri people have shown a transition from violent movement to non-violent movement. Kashmiri people collectively give up the gun movement. Now they are totally in non-violent democratic movement, and yet force has been used against them. Until now they have received 107 dead bodies. The whole of Kashmiri people
Malik, the fact here
are suffering in curfew.
Mr. Malik, why don't you participate in the dialogue process?
Food and medicine right now.
Mr. Malik.
And when the parliamentary delegation came here, they sent us.
You is quite clear.
They send us a written.
No, Mr. Malik, you're not answering my question. You're not answering my question. I'm
answering your question.
The question is very simple. The question is very simple. The question is absolutely simple. There are members of parliament from across the board. In a genuine effort, they want to hear the points of view of the Kashmiri people. It would seem, Mr. Malik, to put it straight to you, that people like you, people like Mr. Gilani, and even people like Mirwais Omar Farooq want, you know, the conflict, the tension, the violence to continue, and that's why you say Azadi first and not peace first. Why can't there be peace first? Why can't you have that reasonable point of view?
Arnav, you are suffering from intellectual bankruptcy.
Thank you.
That is a problem with you. You are suffering from intellectual bankruptcy. We sent a joint memorandum, Mirwais Omar Farooq and me. If we would have met them, we would have tell them the same thing. But we said, you are here, we are receiving the body bags of our own kids. So in protest, we cannot meet you. So we sent them the memorandum. Then in the evening, they came to our house. So we meet them. So don't tell that we are scared. I told you, no Muslim can met RSS leaders. But I met last year RSS leaders. Maybe I want to know what is their opinion on the Kashmir.
Right, sure. But I just want to remind you, Mr. Yasin Malik, and let me get another point of view, that Mirwais Omar Farooq has a lot of faith in the gun. He has said there are plenty here who feel militancy should be strengthened and we should focus on the gun rather than the ballot. I mean, the same people who swear by the gun do not believe in meeting democratic representatives. That is extremely strange. I want a second point of view. Chandan Mitra, would you like to come into the debate? Here, do you feel the separatists should have perhaps agreed to engage with the MPs who came to the Kashmir Valley? Dr. Mitra.
Arnab, are you asking me?
Yeah, that's to you. That's to you.
Yeah, well, you see, I am not looking at the whole thing very negatively, despite the grandstanding that Mr. Yasin Malik and Mirwais and Mr. Gilani have done today. Despite that, I would say that I think it has been a really sincere and genuine gesture on the part of all political parties in this country to go to Srinagar. I believe that they should have done this earlier. Had the government of India been a little more sensitive to what is going on in Kashmir, this effort should have happened earlier. Okay. But anyway, it has happened, and true, if the separatist leaders did not want to come and meet the official delegation, they broke up in groups, they went and met these leaders in their houses. I think that just shows the sincerity and the good intention of political parties in India, and that the Indian government is now prepared to walk that extra mile, and the people of the rest of India want to kind of reach out and say, look, what's your problem? This is a democratic society, there are freedoms, there is a judiciary. If there are issues that to be discussed, let us discuss across the table. But you can't kind of put the cart before the horse and say, Azadi or nothing. I mean, Azadi is not a negotiable thing. Within the framework of the Indian Constitution, which is a very flexible document, which has led to resolution of so many disputes, that this problem can also be resolved. Sure. I think this point has been got across, and this is a very positive development.
But how is
it very positively?
How far will we go, Dr. Singhvi? This Azadi or nothing line has been thrown in our face today, but to all the members of parliament who visited Mr. Gilani and Mirwais Omar Farooq. How far will we go with this line?
Arnab, do not please mistake a particular stand with acceptance. These are different stands, and you may get free phosphorus, you may get outrageous, you may get any point of view. The whole purpose of a exchange of views is to have the tolerance to hear them, to agree that you disagree. Now, there are all kinds of views. Number one, I think you've raised an important point. Why did some people not attend? But I think it is very important, if the government of India has done that extra bit and reached out, that everybody should have responded, irrespective of total disagreement. Number two, those who have not have themselves to answer, and in a sense, perhaps, if I don't use too strong a word, they stand exposed because they have not participated. Number three, I don't understand any reason why you cannot per se participate, because you can participate under a very stated official disagreement. The government of India is not expecting that if you are participating, you are going to agree with them. So I think per se not attending or not participating, in a sense, tells you that there may be a number of reasons. The reasons may be emotional, they may be political, they may be populist, they may be an attempt, they may be actuated by a certain amount of apprehension or fear of retribution from other quarters, but it certainly, I think, does not behove well not to participate when the government of India is doing all this. And thirdly, I think this is a process which has just started. So you cannot draw a timeline or a result-oriented deadline to it now. This is a process which we do not know what is the result going to be in terms of nitty-gritty. But we know one thing, that everybody is sincerely trying to negotiate, and let everybody be very clear, this government, the Congress-led UPA, all the parties are part of the government and all the other parties, nobody is going to allow a millimeter of fundamental Indian principles or sovereignties to be touched.
Sajjad, what is the real reason? Is it fear? Is it fear that people don't want to participate or even engage in a dialogue?
Well, I don't know, Arnab, I was looking at the TV, I'm not in Kashmir, even I could not go because of personal reasons, I was here caught up. But I think if the parliamentary leaders, they've gone there, and if you feel it's an act of magnanimity, magnanimity is not conditional. It is unconditional, and I don't think we should trivialize their magnanimity of going on their own, making a good gesture. And you should also understand that if there is a death, God forbid, in a friend's home, the friend doesn't come, you go to the friend. You know, there have been deaths in Kashmir. If they go on their own, nothing wrong in that. But the way we are trying to carry this debate, as whether there have been some winners or losers or bad or good boys, I think it erodes the spirit of the whole exercise that was taken. No. I myself wasn't very optimistic about what is going to happen today, but to be very honest with you, fingers crossed, it's a good beginning.
Sajjad,
I don't think we need to dissect it so much.
Sajjad, a straight question to you, and I want Mr. Yasin Malik to respond. Abhay Ahmed also come in. Here you have members of parliament from India who are saying, let us have peace first. And you have Mr. Mirwais Omar Farooq and Mr. Yasin Malik, who's on the show tonight, saying Azadi first, not peace first. What would you say to Mr. Yasin Malik? Can't we have peace first? That's the genuineness.
I don't know. I don't know why you have only two answers, yes and no. Why you have peace first and Azadi first. Nobody asked for Azadi first. They put a memorandum there, and these all-party delegation members, they had not gone with a mandate to resolve Kashmir there and then. If they had asked for peace,
they had
listen to me for a moment. You are saying that if they had asked for peace first, they would have handed over to them in their put them in their lap. That is not the question. They both, as Mr. Singhvi said, these are different points of opinion. They put it there, and all is well that ends well. I don't know. I think if you scratch it too much, it's going to bleed.
Sajjad, you have to take a position sometimes. You have to take, you're avoiding taking a position. The position here is very clear. Members of parliament are saying, can we have peace first? And Yasin Malik, Mr. Gilani and Mirwais Omar Farooq are saying there will be no peace unless you negotiate an Azadi. Which means, Yasin Malik, that people will say that you, Mr. Gilani and Mirwais want the situation to carry on like this because your own relevance will be questioned. The moment there is peace in Srinagar, the moment livelihoods are back, the moment there is normalcy, you want this situation to continue. You don't want to give peace a chance, Yasin Malik.
Arnab, you must give them a chance. I think you are just pushing things too far unnecessarily. When they are talking, whatever their publicly stated positions, just let's wait and see. I mean, why are you forcing positions to be taken in this manner?
No, Mr. Chandan Mitra, do you believe that a discussion can happen outside the scope of the Indian Constitution?
No, I don't. But
can I intervene?
That kind of discussion cannot happen. But anyway, I don't think today is the day to discuss. I agree with Mr. Sajjad Lone when he said that this delegation hasn't gone there with a mandate to solve the issue or what is going on.
Chandan Mitra,
let everybody hear.
Chandan Mitra, when Gurudas Dasgupta went to Chandan Mitra, when Gurudas Dasgupta went to Mirwais Omar Farooq, this is exactly what he said. I don't know if you heard it. He said, give peace a chance. Let's have peace first. And Mirwais Omar Farooq said, no. It's Azadi first. I am not quoting a line. This is exactly what the Mirwais told him. I don't know if Sajjad heard that. But this is exactly what was said.
No, but you know that's an impractical talk. Azadi is not coming first or second or third. I mean, I don't think that is really negotiable. But why bring it up? That has to be their public position. They have been...
So is there a difference between the public and private positions? Is there
well, yes, I think there ought to be. In times when things are charged, I mean, I don't expect them to suddenly climb down from their stated positions just because the delegation is gone. But I think the delegation has gone with an open mind, and let us see what the delegation comes back with, puts on the table. Let the government of India initiate some talk, and we'll take it from there. I don't think that forcing people to take their publicly stated positions over and over again is very helpful in this situation.
No, so that's an indication here. Abhay, how do you read this dialogue? Now there's a difference between the public stance and the private stance we are being told. Abhay,
Arnab, I have 3 points to make. One, I think you should look at it, today I look at Kashmir sadly so with tears in my eyes, as a very profitable business proposition for everyone, all the stakeholders, except the common Kashmiri, whether it's a Hindu or it's a Muslim. If you were to take the total aid, my calculation is if you take the total aid that has been given to the valley over the last decade, and you were to just divide it equally among the number of people living there, you will probably have the highest per capita income per citizen. So it is in everyone's interest to let this go on because it's a profitable business venture. Forget all other connotations that are to it. My second point is on the stone throwing, which is called a peaceful struggle, is really a very well thought out strategy. stone throwing as it is in Kashmir called Kanijang, which used to happen decades back as a form of protest, is very effectively used, because at heart I believe every Kashmiri is a peaceful person. So if someone picks up a gun and is shot in the process, the public sympathy is not with him. But if you are using a stone or enticed, you are encouraged to throw a stone, that is why you are seeing so many women for the first time come up, because that is something that goes against the grain. If the same people had picked up a gun and been shot, you wouldn't have seen this kind of protest. My third point is that in all these debates that one sees across the line, where there is a pro-India element both in Kashmiri Muslims and the Kashmiri Pandits, why is the government, the media and everyone not recognizing their voice or even talking about them? You have leaders on record and say we are in India. Obviously if they are MLAs, they represent a constituency. I don't see anything of that happening, but I have personally met these people, I have personally spoken to these people. So I come to my first point. I think it's in everyone's interest to let this go on, because everyone out of it is making money.
But I think a point has been very well served. I want Mr. Ghoni, the NC representative, tonight to come last on this debate. Mr. Ghoni, it seems Omar Abdullah was unable to convince Mehbooba Mufti to take part in the talks, or at least draw her in. Unable to get, say, the separatist elements to take part in the debate. And it was the charge against your government was that it was pre-planned, pre-rehearsed, few set people were made to say their piece before the all-party delegation. That it was all cosmetic and rehearsed. Would you like to respond to that very specific and very oft-repeated allegation over the last 24 hours?
Mr. Arnav, I heard just from Mehbooba Mufti from your channel. You see, Jammu and Kashmir has been always marred by these double standards of the political leaders. If you look at it, you were very specific in questioning her, and I don't think she had any convincing answer. You see, if yesterday I was in Srinagar and the curfew was, the decision was taken to impose curfew, it was not for the reason that the delegation is coming. It was for the reason that the separatists had kept Sunday as an open day. And we have been facing a lot of criticism on this, that the whole thing is running on the calendar of the separatists. I don't know what is the exact nexus between Mehbooba Mufti and the separatists. No, but the fact remains that please listen. Because on one hand she says that she didn't go there because the delegation was required to reach to the common people, and on the other hand she says that she didn't go because she wanted to give chance to more of her party colleagues to participate in this, and sends a 15 people delegation. This is only just making taking the common people, catching them by the basic emotion which is exploited there with the people. I would like to say only one important thing, because Mr. Yasir is listening to it and Mr. Sajad Lawn is listening to this. I would like to say only one thing. Yes. They are young people. They have been in this for a long time now. I would say that, look, I as Aslam Ghani am not prepared to see it in leak, and I'll just decide a couplet. कह रही है मादरे कश्मीर, गमे दौरा बयां नहीं होता, या लड़कपन है या बुढ़ापा है, कोई बेटा जवां नहीं होता. These children kindly don't get them killed. The stimulation you are bringing in is not conducive for anyone. And ultimately what you do is, the government is not doing, Umar is not doing, and I feel very strange. A situation where I get hundreds of calls a day from different places in Kashmir, where people really are fed up with this all thing happening around. But then the point is always, it has been tragedy of the Kashmir history. If you see, look at it now, you see, it has been always exploitation by few of the majority of the people. We have got people. Yes, I
would like Yasin Malik to respond to your points, and also to the point made by Abhay Aime earlier about the industry of violence in Jammu and Kashmir.
Yes,
let Yasin Malik respond. Go ahead. Yes, Yasin Malik. You heard those voices.
I have 3 points to make here. First, as far as the Azadi concept is concerned, it is not Yasin Malik, because of Yasin Malik or other, because of Mirwais Umar Farooq, that there is a concept of Azadi in Kashmir. As far as the independent Kashmir is concerned, there has been various surveys done by New York Times, BBC, 2 prominent magazines of India, Outlook and India Today, 2 prominent media institutions in Pakistan, that more than 85% people in Kashmir want independent Kashmir. So that is the sentiment of the people of Jammu and Kashmir, collective sentiment of the people of Jammu and Kashmir, that they want independent Kashmir from both India and Pakistan. Now, when you are talking about the talks, we responded always the talks. But it is unfortunate, right from 47 until now, the dialogue institution, which is the last hope for the people across the globe, whether it is a big international conflict or a small domestic conflict, dialogue institution is the last hope for people across the globe. But it is unfortunate the dialogue institution failed to deliver in Kashmir until now.
No,
whenever the people respond, it failed to respond.
But you want
so,
to, Mr. Malik, would you,
with the Indian
Mr. Malik, no, Mr. Malik, okay, Chandan Mitra wants to respond. No, Mr. Malik, you must, my point is on the general.
Let me
okay, no, I'm coming to you, let Yasin Malik.
No, let me conclude it.
Sure.
No, let me please conclude it. So, second important thing is when you talk about the violence. There was a gun movement in Kashmir. I am the person who started the armed struggle in Kashmir. Then I am the person in 94 who declared unilateral ceasefire when there were more than 50,000 Kashmiri boys with the gun in Kashmir. So how difficult a decision it was at that time, even I was accused by my own colleagues and own friends. But we carry out with the peace mission. We create a peace constituency in Kashmir. I visit village to village, school, college, university. Now we create a collective transition from gun movement to non-violent democracy.
Let me tell you. No,
the boys are.
Okay, let me tell you here.
Please.
I just want to quote.
Boys are on the streets. Boys are on the street.
Let me tell you.
Boys are on the street.
Let Chandan Mitra. I want to tell you. Now, listen to what Gilani said.
Dead body.
Mr. Malik, Mr. Malik, let Chandan Mitra make a fundamental point to you.
You don't want to push these boys back to the gun movement.
Mr. 1 second. Yasin Malik, I want Abhishek, Manu Singhvi and Chandan Mitra to come into this. Mr. Chandan Mitra has a point to make to you. Go on, Mr. Mitra. Go on.
Yeah, I have just 3 points to raise. First, if such is the popularity of the separatist leader and Mr. Yasin Malik can turn things around, why don't the separatists contest elections? I mean, that would prove what is the extent of their popular support. Second point, that the other separatists invited in all this, Mr. Gilani is very clear that the Kashmir Valley must be part of Pakistan.
Absolutely.
It is not Azadi. It is Gulami to Pakistan, which is being advocated by Mr. Gilani. And the third is that do the separatist leader today really control? I think they have also lost a lot of relevance.
True.
Because having incited the mobs and created a Frankenstein's monster, they are now in no position to control things. Okay. So therefore, I am not very sure whether they are in a position to kind of either get the violence stopped or actually start talking. Yeah. But in any case, still, for whatever it's worth, I'm once again reiterating that today's developments are positive. I hope this will bring about a change of heart among the separatist leaders.
Chandan Mitra, my question goes to you, and actually I want Abhishek Manu Singhvi to answer this. While it is important to be responsible, it is important to reach out.
Can I respond?
No, I'll come to you. I just have one question. One question for Abhishek Manu Singhvi. While we are responsible, while we reach out, it seemed a little apologetic today. I mean, before the television cameras getting a mouthful about the barbarism of the Indian state, and the representatives, the members of parliament quietly listening on. I mean, while it can serve a purpose, it all seemed to be aimed at the cameras. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, how far will we carry on this process? How much more will we reach out to the Mr. Gilani, Mr. Yasin Malik, is there a point where we will say this much and no further? Dr. Singhvi.
Arnab, I don't agree with this. This is really more of press sensationalism and whipping up passions. When you go on a delegation like this, you start with the principle of Voltaire that I disagree with you violently, but I shall defend to death your right to disagree with me. You go there knowing that there are extreme points of view, there are anti-national points of view, there are anti-India points of view, but you do not stop the discussion at the threshold. You do not stifle discussion. That doesn't help. How does it help? Do you think without this meeting, these people have not said this enough times on camera before? So let's not get into semantics or subjective reactions. That only queers the pitch. It creates a bad ambience. Yes, you have gone out to listen, to hear even totally disagreeable views, but when you draw them in and you sit down at the table, let me tell you, and when you sit ultimately at the table to negotiate, not today, I'm not saying today, but later on, right? Maybe not even tomorrow, but maybe later on, you are behind doors, cameras are not on, and then positions are much more flexible. That's how impossible situations have worked out. I mean, Egypt and Israel had something worked out. I'm not at all comparing the two, but I'm saying impossible.
So what today's talks, not serious? Dr. Singhvi, what today's talks not serious? Because they were all happening before cameras. I mean, if the real intention today was for constructive talks.
Who said they are not serious? I'm sorry, you're putting words into my mouth. They are dead serious. They're an extraordinary initiative, but that's the first step. You are confusing the first step with the middle step or the last step.
Okay.
It's neither the last step nor the middle step.
Okay, no, I was
first step.
Mr. Goni wanted to come in here, and I will come into you, Abhayama. Yeah.
Yes. Now let me tell you one thing. I know, why we are expressing such a dissatisfaction about the whole thing. Today's delegation and the meeting of delegation and the goodwill gesture shown by the delegation going to meet all these three separatist leaders and talking to them, it sends a very good message. Okay. I mean, it seems to be for the first time, I am also telling you as a history student of the state, I am telling you that this is probably for the first time something happening in a very positive manner. And this positive manner, we should be optimistic about it. We must try to draw something positive from it.
Surely, but
not that, we just...
Surely, but...
please.
No, but surely, but Mr. It has to serve some purpose. It has to serve some concrete purpose. Abhayama, I mean, the only purpose one is seeing tonight...
Mr. Arnav, listen. Purpose, what you are thinking, the purpose, still the delegation is here, it has to be still the people in Jammu, and it is in the process, and what you are expecting a purpose just now. I mean, it's a process. It's a very good beginning.
It gives a lifeline to the Omar Abdullah government, but at the end of the day, there is also another point of view. If the hardliners' position is only going to be more rigid.
What is Arnav, what is this? I don't know. How are you people talking this lifeline given to Omar Abdullah government? Omar Abdullah was repeatedly saying it's an elected government.
Okay,
it's an elected
Mr. Aima wanted to come in.
Do not go like that.
Mr. Aima wanted to come in. Mr. Aima.
I for the life of me, I don't understand that while all this semantics that are going on, political process, there is someone who's getting up and shouting that India Murdabad, Pakistan Zindabad, and as a legitimate, politically elected set of people are willing to go and talk. What is the message we are giving to the rest of India? Tomorrow, if I stand outside and do something like this, you expect people to come and talk to me? Why am I put behind bars and the state holds good? Either accept it and say that this is what it is, we need to talk and we are accepting the point of view. Don't drop your trousers or keep them on tight. Don't put them on the knees, you'll fall. Why is no one going and talking to the same Kashmiri who lives in the tent in Jammu and has been living for decades? He's also an Indian citizen.
Okay.
His only fault is he's saying, I am with India. I am not against a dialogue, but I'm saying make up your mind, for God's sake. Do you want to give legitimacy? Then go ahead and do it. As a state, decide. On one hand, you say you're not willing to give it legitimacy. On the other hand, you're willing to go to the houses to talk to people. I mean, nothing can be more absurd.
Sajjad and Yasin Malik, that's also a Kashmiri voice speaking, Sajjad. That's also a Kashmiri voice speaking.
Well, every voice is Kashmiri here, and yes, he has every right to put forward his point of view, and not necessarily correct, not necessarily to be agreed by all of us. And I'm afraid the reason this all-party delegation went was because there were 100 people who've been killed in Kashmir, not in the tents in Jammu. God forbid, if something like that happens, maybe they will go there also. But until that happens, they will have to come to Kashmir.
So you're waiting for that?
But no, I'm not waiting, but I'm just putting the facts in front of you. So the other thing is, Arnab, I'll just pray, I like you as a person, but I don't know why you're so keen to play down, trivialize whatever happened today, and bring in some sort of that radical thing that you are always fishing for. It's okay, they went there, Gilani Saab put his point of view, Yasin put it, Mirwais put it. End of the story. You're trying to sort of dig in and find out where you can find something and sensationalize it.
I don't understand, Sajjad. Sajjad, it's hardly the end of the story. It's, Sajjad, you don't have to take a position if you don't want to. It's hardly the end of the story. I'm saying it's a very good start. But where will there be a meeting ground? It's you need a roadmap.
No, but that
you need a constructive roadmap.
Trust me.
Okay.
If Delhi shows magnanimity, I have full faith in the people of Kashmir, in the leadership. They will replicate that magnanimity.
Sure. Now let me.
If you feel today's act was an act of magnanimity, please don't trivialize it by repeating it again and again. If you feel you have done a favor, they have done it, you have not done it. Why are you marketing it and glorifying it?
There are a lot of people.
It gets trivialized.
There are a lot of people, Sajjad, including you, let me remind you, Sajjad. One minute, Sajjad, including you, who had great faith in the Indian democratic setup. Because Sajjad Lone, when you fought the elections, you fought under the Indian constitution, under Indian democracy. I do not think it is a trivial question for anyone to ask whether we can talk within the ambit of the same Indian constitution and democracy. That's the point I'm making to Yasin Malik.
If you want to know that answer, let me tell you for a million times, for God's sake, let me make it clear today, or not, let me make it clear once and for all today. If you remember when I talked to you on the show that time, I said I have changed my strategy, not my ideology. If you think I have become some great votary or some great fan of Indian democracy, first of all, problem is that democracy is a Western concept. And you in India don't think, perhaps don't understand the concept of democracy. It is very conditional that you accept democracy if you are Indian. If you are not an Indian, then you don't accept democracy.
Let me ask.
Simple and straightforward.
Abhay Ahmed. I'm not going to come in because you'll say it's trivializing the issue. I want Abhay Ahmed to come in. Yeah.
No, I honestly, the question wasn't to either of those two gentlemen. The question was more to the ruling party, that is the Congress. That was, what message are we conveying? Is it the same old soft stance or the soft state that acts for various other things, whether it's to do it, or are we meaning any business? Just going there, talking to 5 people, coming back, which will be forgotten in 3 months, we'll wait for another tragedy to happen, or we'll wait for something to happen to the Kashmiri Pandits in Jammu, we'll go and talk again. Isn't this been going for too long? And somewhere doesn't the political, which includes all the parties, need to take a stand? I think it is, a democracy at its peak that Mr. Lone can say the things he says and he's on the national television and people are listening to him. I don't think that happens in most parts of the world. So, you have trivial issues in US or the best democracies, and people, you don't hear about those people for, they're not told to come on the national television and propagate these views. So my question is not to these gentlemen, my question is to the ruling party, that what is it that we are saying?
My last question is going there, and my last question is really Yasin Malik. Yasin Malik, and then I'll come to Abhishek Manu Singhvi for a response. Yasin Malik, tell me genuinely, people have made an effort to come out, reach out to you, engage you in discussions and dialogue. Is your position final and rigid? What is your position on a discussion process within the ambit of the Indian Constitution? Can you give me your clear position on that? And I won't say yes or no, otherwise Sajjad will respond.
Okay or no, my ideology is very much transparent. I stand for independent Kashmir, and we have said it time and again, if Government of India wants to resolve this issue through a dialogue institution, which institution is very dear to me, then all the parties must sit
Okay.
They must discuss this issue in a greater depth. What are the genuine concerns of India? What are the genuine concerns of Pakistan? They need to discuss it with Kashmiri people so that an environment will be created for a dignified, honorable solution which will be acceptable to India, Pakistan and Kashmiri people.
Absolutely. Well, I will just add one small point and make this to Sajjad as well. It is the greatness of Indian democracy that allows discussions like this. We have all points of view. I want to ask Abhishek Manu Singhvi, finally, if that is the final position of the separatists, Dr. Singhvi, will we go once again, we as another parliament delegation go once again and hear the same position reiterated by the same people? If so, for what?
No, I don't agree with this very sterile mechanical approach. I don't think that's the whole purpose. I don't think that's what is happening. I completely and totally disagree with the speaker prior to the previous one, who seems to suggest that you must A, never start a dialogue, B, before you start a dialogue you must lay down 10 preconditions which make that dialogue futile. And I don't see any reasonable political point of view taking this ultra-right point of view which I've just heard, that you would not even talk to these people merely because you are the government and you haven't drawn out a roadmap and not given them a guideline and a result and a destination, that unless you reach this destination you are not going to come for talks.
Right.
This is not the spirit. You are not solving anything by this. You are merely restating old stereotypes. You are having a real problem in Kashmir which you must recognize. Of course, what the solution will be ultimately on the government of India's terms as well.
Right.
It will not be on unilateral terms for everybody. But to say that we will not even consider talks and that going on an all-party delegation is a farce is to belittle the efforts made after getting all these diverse parties together is itself a historic achievement. Getting them to go there and then have these views expressed is a very, very singular achievement.
Absolutely cannot be called a farce. In fact, as we have reiterated, Dr. Singhvi, it has shown great maturity and generosity and a point of view and understanding on New Delhi's part. Question is, how are other people responding? So I think you made your point really strongly. Not a farce at all. A very genuine process. Thank you for all my guests, Dr. Singhvi, Abha Aima, Mr. Goni, for joining us on this discussion. How far should India go? How should the other side respond? If the other side continues to be static and rigid, should we continue to reach out? If so, reach out to whom? Many debates coming up. On the other side, news are in 2 minutes tonight. The bizarre situation